Let's get some reaction now from Professor Mbulungeni Madiba, who's Dean of the Faculty of Education at Stellenbosch University, joining us to discuss this matter. Very good evening to you, Professor Madiba. Thank you for your time. How impactful do you think...
Good evening.
Thank you for your time. How impactful do you think such a funding model could be?
I think where we are now, students are really struggling with funding in higher education. So any innovation, any kind of funding will really assist. For example, NSFAS is not sufficient. Not all students are able to get NSFAS, especially the missing middle, as we have just heard the chairperson of the portfolio committee talking about. So I think that is the category that really will require innovation. And this kind of intervention, I hope it will really help. It's not going to solve the problem, but it is going to assist. But remember, this is not the first time. 2017, when we were dealing with the Fees Must Fall, there was this kind of a scheme, and the idea was that the private sector will play its part, will come in and provide funding, that will assist this category. But it didn't really take off. But now, if government is going to find some money that they're saying that they put aside, it will really help. But my biggest challenge is the sustainability of that. That's where, because otherwise it will be just once off, and then from there the scheme will not be sustainable. So it must be put in a way that it will be sustainable, it will be able to help and then continue to go. So I think the scheme is welcome if it's going really to take off and be properly administered, not like NSFAS.
Yeah, the model will be administered by NSFAS. What is your take as, we've seen a lot of controversy surrounding NSFAS and, of course, calls for it to just be done away with entirely. What do you take? What is your take on that?
There's no way that we can do away with NSFAS. If you phase out NSFAS, that means kids coming from poor backgrounds will never really access higher education. And in fact, that will have a huge impact on the sustainability of higher education. I think we should work hard on trying to make sure that it's well administered. I think it's good news that there's a new board, but we hope that that board will last, or whether it will be able to do its work. I think we just have to work hard to try to improve the efficiency, in the board and make sure that there's no corruption, because that was the main problem with NSFAS.
Yeah, absolutely. And Professor, as we take a look at the current situation and, some of the reasons why this model will be so impactful and could make such a big difference to the missing middle, what are the dynamics at play currently as we scrutinize the missing middle and take a look at the biggest challenges they face?
You see, the big challenge is that if you look at the threshold of 350,000, that all parents who earn 350,000 cannot qualify. Their children cannot qualify for NSFAS. Now, if you look at the middle class, it's very difficult. Things are very expensive. If a parent has got two children going to higher education, that 350,000 is nothing. It's nothing. So there's no way that, in fact, the middle class, if you look at it, it is completely squeezed up, because they have to buy, they have to make sure that they pay for their children, they have to get their own security, they have to get cars. It is very, very difficult. It is that, I think that class is completely exhausted. So I think if it can get some relief, there could be loans like government is going to provide. That is going to be a huge relief, and it will enable children of the middle class also to attend better schools. Because what is happening now, children of the middle schools are going to really, really poor universities because they can't afford, top universities that we know are expensive.
And the conversation around universities, Professor, and the call for TVET institutions to not be ignored, that there should be a balance as well. What is your take on that as we look at some of the skills that are perhaps going to be missing in the future if there aren't more people going to TVET colleges? What needs to change in how TVET colleges are presented and run?
We really need TVET colleges, because that is where the kind of skills that we need for the 21st century, the skills that we need now, most of them should be developed by TVET colleges. But you know, the problem with our TVET colleges is that most of them, I mean, very few of them are functional. Very few of them have got good infrastructure. So we will need to invest a lot in terms of infrastructure, in terms of staff, so that whatever qualification that comes from such kind of institution, it really equips students with the kind of skill sets that we need. It's not just a TVET. It should be more than that. It should be a place where our students, our children are really acquiring the kind of skills that we need. But at the moment, I'm telling you, very few TVET colleges are doing well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time and speaking to us this evening. Professor Mbulungeni Madiba, Dean of the Faculty of Education at Stellenbosch University.